Welcome to Marketing MASH, brought to you by themarketingscope.com.
Welcome to the Marketing MASH, brought to you by the Marketing Scope. I'm Eric Vidal, Editor and Chief Content Officer. As usual, I have Shelly Kramer, CEO of V3B, and co-CEO Daniel Newman of V3B, best-selling author, writer. Both are big speakers on the circuit and very well known in social media. And today we have a special guest, someone who's also very well known in social media. She's the Director of Social Media at Dell, and that's Amy Heiss. Amy, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Amy, we want to start by asking first what you do there at Dell and being the Director of Social Media. One of the things that we know about you is that you manage SMAC, which is your university. So it's not just about deploying technology and helping promote social, but actually working closely with employees to teach them how to engage and how to be better at social. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I'd love to. It's the humans versus the machines, and I'm on the human side when it comes to social at Dell. So my team runs SMAC, which stands for Social Media and Community University, SMAC U, as we like to say. Anybody at Dell can get SMAC. Yeah, we love play on words. We have a lot of fun. It's part of our brand. But our job is to inform our employees what our social media policy is, what our strategy is, how we'd like them to activate with, in social to connect with our customers. And we provide them with tools like Everyone's Social to help them with content curation. We provide them with listening reports to tell them who their customers are and where they are so that they can, communicate to the right audience in the right location. But ultimately, it's really about connecting with our customers and providing good content that's valuable and relevant. And most importantly, it's that we ask our team members to be human.
So Amy, I love the title of your university. So I don't know, my friend Brian Fanzo and I have a podcast called Smack Talk.
Brian yes, I do know that. And Brian is actually, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but Brian's going to be a speaker at an upcoming unconference that we're having for our employees.
Told me about that. That's very exciting. That's super cool. Yeah. So our SMAC is Social Mobile Analytics Cloud. So, but I like the way you use SMAC and kind of played on those words as well. So nobody wants to get smacked up here. So only good and smart answers for this audience, right?
I hear ya. I can't take the credit for the name. Liz Bullock actually named it. So you guys might know Liz. She runs Sassy. She used to be at Dell and she left to start her own agency. So she created the name. She's
Very
great.
Cool.
That's great.
Well, Brian might join in. You never know. He might do a drive-by.
He's
and
on
jump
a plane.
in.
So he said if he could, but he'll be on the digitals. He'll be on the digitals. His plane got delayed.
So Amy, when it comes to SMAC U and working with some of the employees there at Dell, what's one of the biggest challenges that you come across during your week?
Oh gosh, so many. So I think one challenge that we face is showing the return on investment for activating our employees. And it's really about showing business value, and that can depend on what you're using social for. So there's a return on investment in terms of the relationships that we're building with customers. We can measure direct sales from social posts. We can measure earned media value from employees posting. We know things like our employees get 8 times the engagement than our branded content. Our employees have an overlap of people that follow the Dell. Yes, return on relationship, Bernie. Also, so our employees have a 10% overlap between who follows our employees and who follows our Dell branded accounts. So we know that when our employees are sharing information about our brand, they're reaching an audience that doesn't necessarily follow Dell, which is very helpful to introduce them and educate them and make them aware that we're a 70% B2B business. Most people think of us as a consumer brand. And I think, if I ask somebody what they think about with Dell marketing, the first thing they'll say is, dude, you're getting a Dell, which is, from the 90s. And it's fantastic. We hear it all the time and I still love it. But ultimately, we're a B2B business. And so our challenge is how do we share that story and how do we activate our employees to do that? So getting salespeople to use social effectively, that's a huge challenge for me. And getting our leadership to sort of see the value of relationship building and the long-term impact of that versus the short-term, what is it doing for me right now, are big challenges we face.
That's pretty awesome. I got to ask you though. So you made a comment, and now I want you to answer it. How do you get your employees to get on board with social? Because I think that's the big question. Probably everybody out there that's watching this and going to watch it later is going to be asking, how does a big company make that happen?
We make it fun. I mean, first and foremost, we create a community within the social certified team that you want to be a part of. So we have events like the one Brian's coming to speak with next December 3rd, where it's called Unconference. And only SMAC certified employees are invited to it. And I can get more into that later. But we also have a social movie day. So only if you're SMAC certified, we rent out the Alamo Draft House in Austin, Texas. It's a really fun theater that serves food and drinks. And it's great. If you don't know Alamo, look it up. It's wonderful. We rent it out and we play a movie. So we played Catfish, and then we talked about the difference between identification and authentication in social once the movie was over. It's a lot of fun. It's a good conversation. Last year we watched Chef. So if you saw Chef, you know there's a big social element into how he used social to sell when he was traveling. And then we talked about do's and don'ts of the movie. This year, our movie is coming up in December. We're going to watch 16 Candles and talk about what 16 Candles would have been like if you had social media at the time. But things that you're only invited to if you're part of our SMAC certified community. And it's not just those, it's guest speakers, it's events, other events, it's book signing. We have special trainings that go beyond our certification. So this morning we trained on how the political candidates in the election are using social as part of their campaigns. You're only invited to that training if you're in our certification program. So what we've created is this atmosphere where you want to be a part of the community, and we have a lot of fun, and there's a lot of benefit for our employees to do that. And then once you're certified and you're in the community, then hopefully you're activating. We're supplying content that you can share with your networks. We're supplying scheduling tools that will help people overcome the time objection that we hear a lot. And we're giving them information that we feel like our customers find valuable.
How many people are in your social media certified group?
We have 15,000 certified team members at Dell across the globe.
Okay.
When you mentioned,
go ahead.
Oh, excuse me. No, please.
No, that's all right. Go on.
Well, when you mentioned getting, one of the challenges you have is getting employees engaged and getting them started. You also mentioned executives. What about for a newer executive who may not fully see eye to eye with your social media strategy and really isn't really big into social? How do you get them started and educate them or get them to understand why they need to do it?
We have an unfair advantage. Michael Dell is a huge social user. So he's at Michael Dell on Twitter. Those are his own words. We don't have a team posting for him. He also posts in LinkedIn, on Facebook, and he posts fun things like when he's at the Grammys, he'll take a picture and post it on Facebook, or he likes to ride his bike a lot, so he posts that. So we have an unfair advantage in that it comes from the top. Michael uses it. He's prolific. He oftentimes finds challenges. At the same time, our listening tools see those same patterns and trends, and so he's really on top of things. So we don't tend to hire leaders that don't get it because he does. But there is that, that's not to say we don't have our challenges. There is that middle management layer that we have a problem with. And it's oftentimes they don't get it and they see that Michael uses it, but they'll come back and challenge about, the time objection or, their audience isn't necessarily in social. And so one thing we do to overcome that is just show them some business results that we've seen. So just pointing them to customers who have purchased through links so we have a tool called Link Tracker, which helps us to track whether you've purchased from a social link. And so we can show the direct business value there. We can show earned media value. We can show areas where we've built connections in social that have led to business value. So we have Bernie on the call here, and we connected with Bernie through social, in fact, through an event and social. And as a result of that, we've had a couple of podcasts with Bernie. We've done an ebook together, and he's influential in the social space. So these are relationships that we can point to and say, our efforts in social have made a difference in our business. And here's one area where we can do that. There was a question about internal brand engagement and social activity can foster consumer brand engagement. I like that question. We do see that. We have a group called the Dell Rockstars, and they're a part of our community team. They join on our community website. Hey, Allison. They also answer questions for us. What's so crazy we found is that through these relationships that we built in social, we have customers that do customer support and tech support on behalf of Dell. They don't work for us. We don't pay them in any form to do that, but they are loyal fans. And because of our community that we built online and because of the relationships we've built with them, they answer questions for us. In fact, it changed our service level agreements and the metrics that we hold our team accountable to, because this group, we want to give them the opportunity to answer first before we do. So in some areas of our business, we actually allow more time before we respond as a company so that our community rock stars can do it. So we see a lot of value to that. And I think one more thing I want to say about internal engagement with our employees being activated, we have an internal Dell survey, an employee satisfaction survey that we give every year. And one of the questions on there is, it's all about job satisfaction and do you see significant growth? Do you feel connected to our strategy? And our SMAC certified team members score significantly higher on those questions around strategy connection and their whether or not they're happy at Dell, whether they see a career path at Dell. And we know that's because when you're using social to speak on behalf of your brand, then you've got to know what's going on with your brand. You're being given content to share. You're reading up on the brand more. And so they have that stronger connection.
Have you guys published anything externally that actually has outlined that? I know a lot of companies like to kind of show those benchmarks to the world that we've got happier employees, but it would be very interesting just as sort of social proof to the whole community that a brand can say employees who have been socially engaged are happier than employees that aren't. Because, ironically, we work with a lot of businesses, not on social, not all the size of Dell, but they struggle. I mean, companies struggle to get their employees to do social, especially when it's not like a restaurant or something where it's a very transactional business, but something more B2B.
Yeah.
Your proof of concept would be interesting. Is there anything out there that reflects the success stories that you guys have had?
We're working on that now. So we just got that data, and we're working with our HR and talent acquisition teams to partner with some information about that, because obviously our talent acquisition group can use that information to bring in millennials, bring in, obviously the best and brightest that we're recruiting. So that's data that we're working on getting out in terms of white papers. And we actually have an event on December 4th, an HR focused event that will be kind of sharing the research for the first time, but it's not written in a paper. It's more in a presentation standpoint.
Very cool. We do and have done for a long time internal training on social. And I want to just kind of back up and give some key takeaway points that you're demonstrating that have kind of been benchmarks of what we've done as well. But one thing I think it's really important to always remember for any of you who are listening who want to take away these lessons is that training never stops. It is ongoing all the time. All these platforms evolve and change. And so I know that what you're saying is the key to your success is you've got this community. You're always training them. You're always teaching them new things. You're always keeping them up to date. And you're rewarding them. That's another key part of it, making them feel special, making them feel like, because what you're really asking them to do is to use their personal property, their online real estate to promote the brand. And most of us are brand advocates for the companies for whom we work anyway. But rewarding them for doing that, publicly rewarding them, making them feel special, I think is really important. And then the other part of it is really always connecting it back to the ROI. And, and Daniel and I experience this a lot because we'll go in and we don't try whether a company, and we might work with companies at the enterprise level, we might work with mid-market companies, but we realize going in that we can't convince everybody all at once. So when you have either a CEO like Michael, who's obviously a passionate leader about the value of social, or you can identify managers within certain, key executives within certain departments who will embrace this, who will say, team, the train has left the station, we're on it, so this is what we're going to do. When you have that buy-in from key leadership, it makes a difference, whether it's the CEO or whether it's individual leaders. But that last part of it is, you don't have to show success in a huge way. It's those little successes. It's that, so-and-so shared this in a LinkedIn group that was specific to this vertical that we serve. And it started a conversation that led to this opportunity for an RFP, which we responded to, which took 6 months to get the business, but now we've got this, $2.5 million contract because of it. And it's really, I think so many times people forget to track those as part of your sales cycle. And that's really an important part of this whole process.
I completely agree with that. And we love those kinds of shares. We recently had a salesperson give that exact scenario where he was just posting regular content in LinkedIn, information about his area of the business, and it was really technology-based information and not necessarily Dell information. And as a result, he was invited by a brand that we haven't been able to penetrate to come to the table and to offer a contract. And then they took the business, and they said to him specifically, the procurement officer said to him, you were invited to this meeting because I find your content in LinkedIn to be helpful. And that's the story that we
helpful, not a sales pitch. And
right.
That's really, and I think that's the other part of the equation and we do this for clients all the time too. We spend as much time writing social media content that our teams, our sales teams, our marketing teams, our senior leadership can share that is not brand messaging. That is, here's what's going on in the industries that we serve. Here's what our customers care about. And really just serving it up for them with the big fat easy button so that because time is always the biggest objection, time, and I'm not sure what to do. So when you can give them stuff in such a way that it takes the smallest amount of time possible, I think that really makes a huge difference on your path to success with this.
I think it's crazy that brands still believe product-centric content and product-centric social media is going to move the needle for them. Like, I do understand there is a time and a place for a promotion. There's a time and a place to say, this is what's going on. Check out this event, check out this opportunity to get involved by. But so many brands just jump right there. I mean, Shelly, think about it. And of course, you probably hear this from your sales teams that you're empowering, Amy, right when they first come into SMAC. Is like, I want to tweet about the new Dell notebooks that are coming out, or I want to tweet about, this new, and you're like, no, don't do that. Stop. You're like, first, you got to get trust. You got to start to build a relationship with people. And you cannot do that if everything you're pushing out is salesy. I say I laugh because Shelly, you and I have worked together now quite a long time, and you would probably agree. Nobody posts more articles in a week than me. And I probably get picked on, but I don't think I've ever put out a single article where I've told somebody how to buy my stuff. If anything, I screw it up the other way around. People go, what can I actually do with you? What kind of business can I do with you? Where it's like, I'm not promotional enough. But my point is, I've never had someone be like mad at me, like, Dan, please stop blogging about useful or informational things. And will you start writing more articles about how to buy, notebooks from Dell? And we write for Dell, but we've never written a single article for Dell where we're like, buy this stuff from Dell. And both, I don't know if you know that, but both Shelly and I write for Powermore. So we're both regular contributors. So, like I said, we love that relationship with Dell, Amy, because they don't tell us what to write. They want us to write stories that activate the community.
That's right. We want to provide value and we want to build that trust. And in our SMAC training, we actually equate it to we get really basic and talk about a dinner party and who would you rather sit by at a dinner party. And so we play out this scenario throughout all of our SMAC training. Every time we bring up, listen first, and it sounds absurd, but you wouldn't walk up to a group of people at a dinner party who are having a conversation and just tell them where you work and give them a deal, and so that's.
Wait, you're wrong, because on LinkedIn, that's exactly what people do all the time. You've seen that meme I shared about thanks for connecting with me, and then 5 minutes later sending me your pitch, right. Actually, I've had a thread, and you'll have to check this out. I'll share it with you a little later, Amy. It's been commented on 400 times and liked like 1,500, which on LinkedIn for a meme is insane, because normally nobody engages on anything on LinkedIn. It's very kind of push market in a lot of ways. And it's about 400 comments, and about 100 of them are sales and business development people that think I am insane for not thinking that when I connect with someone that's the right for them to start pitching me from that moment, that they can send me a canned offer. And then there's about 300 buyers that are like, don't do that. But it's funny how many salespeople are sitting there going, if you don't like the pitches, then get off LinkedIn. That's not what LinkedIn's for. It's for pitching people. And that's what people believe. So it's really a great thing, because I don't know that your sales team, without what you do, would actually understand that LinkedIn is not a place to immediately find a buyer, a CTO, or an IT director and say, hey, do you have a buying relationship with Dell? Because if you don't, right, I would love to work with you. I don't know that these guys would know better if you weren't teaching them.
You're right. And we have to be especially careful with sales, because they're trained. Their whole job is to sell, right? So they're trained to do it. They spend their time doing it. And so when we talk about salespeople, we talk about social as that virtual handshake, and that this is a way to extend your relationship with your customers when you can't be there in person. And so you're not constantly calling your customers, asking them to buy. You're not going to visit your customers every day and asking them to buy. You're building that foundation, that relationship. That's why you take them to dinner. That's why you know how old their kids are. And the same is true in social. It gives you all of this rich data about your customers. You know what they're feeling, even if they don't overtly say it. We can learn from a customer what's going on in their business, even through vague posts, because we're paying attention. And we even had a sales guy relay to us that his customer was in an earthquake zone, and so he knew that about his customer, and he just tweeted, hey, I know you're in an earthquake zone, or we're affected by the earthquake. I hope that everybody's okay. And after the dust settled, his customer wrote back and said, you're the only person that reached out and asked if we were okay. Other people said, if anything's wrong with our product, let me know. If your systems are down and I can help you, let me know. But your post was just, are you okay? And that's a really human thing to do. And that's exactly what we're teaching our salespeople. And overall, we have a rule with anyone who's SMAC certified that 80% of the content they share should not be focused on sales, transactional, even necessarily on Dell. It should be about the business, about technology, about what's interesting to people and their audience. They've earned the audience, and so they should share content that's relevant to them. And even what's going on with their personal lives. You'll find on Saturdays that I'm a Texas Longhorn fan, and I tweet about how terrible we are pretty often. And so you know that about me if you're one of my followers and you see my account. And that's what we want of all of our team members. Be human. You're not just about work, and you're not just about Dell. Share technology, be relevant, be interesting. And ultimately, those relationships that you build will lead to something. And, we can show that as a result from people who've been doing this at Dell for 5 or 10 years.
That's awesome.
I love that you said that. I don't know if anybody can read that. I actually wrote that as a meme. It says, a simple rule for brands and people: no more than 20% of what you share should be about yourself or your brand.
There you go.
And I actually created that as a little meme, and it brought a lot of flames. Like I said, it's amazing when I actually make these suggestions. That's why I said I love what you're doing, because it's amazing. Brands and people get really ticked off when you make that suggestion to them, but nobody likes a brand or a person that's overly self-promotional. Like I always say, my least favorite statement on the internet is, I'm humbled by anything. Like anything that follows, I'm humbled or honored, then the sentence afterwards is always something braggadocious. It's always like, like, this is how I get away with bragging, is I start the sentence by saying I'm humbled by. And my point is, like, most people, like, yes, we all like it because we're like, we don't want to be a jerk that doesn't like it. But deep down inside, you're going, if you're really a great brand, or what you say is really so amazing, what happens is the rest of the community starts to carry your torch for you, right? And you share great content, great ideas, and you inspire people. They will want to tell people that, what a great job you did. So it is really funny. It's that fine line on social where brands feel the obligation and people to always be talking about themselves. And I don't think most of us really enjoy it, even if sometimes we pretend like we do.
A couple weeks ago, Ted Rubin and Brian had a Blab session, and Ted said, "Can we stop saying Humblebrag? Can we just kill that word? Humblebrag, there's no such thing."
That's funny.
No, I love that.
That's funny. I have an interesting story. We were working with an enterprise company, and we started working with them in social in January of 2011, and we were managing all social across every platform for them. We were writing all their corporate blog content, and we had 8,000 people looking over the shoulders of our social team every day. And it can be a very high stress job, especially, you've created an organization where you have 15,000 people that are, social media certified. But when you're walking in, like we do a lot of times, we're change agents. And, this may be 2011 that I'm talking about, but there's plenty of companies in 2015 that are still in the same place. But trying to teach an organization of some size that it's okay to be human can be a daunting task. And I'll never forget, probably 6 weeks into this initial engagement, I got a call from the CMO who was awesome and who, of course, we work very closely with. But he said, "Oh my God, you're never going to believe it. I got a phone call today from somebody going, we just said happy birthday to somebody on Twitter. What is going on?" and it was just, from the brand account. And it was just like, oh my God, how could we do that? And it was funny. And I said, well, did you ask him, what he would do if he stumbled across any ordinary person or a customer or prospective customer and it happened to be their birthday? Wouldn't you say, happy birthday, Amy? I don't know you, but it's your birthday. Happy birthday. And it was just so funny. But that was the level of pushback that we would get on a regular basis and still get sometimes, because they're just, for those of us who are immersed in the space, this seems like a no-brainer. But for a lot of people, especially for people who really don't participate and who kind of begrudgingly have accepted social, even at this point when, it's not new, it's really an interesting thing. But I never forget, we have a team here of probably 15 who are engaged in social community management for multiple clients on a day-to-day basis. And Dan and I talk about it all the time. That's the hardest job that in our agency. It's the hardest job because you have people watching every post, every move. It can be stressful because you never know who you're going to run across. You never know what's going to happen in the world. You never know when you have to may react. So it's really, I really always applaud those people who are on the front lines because it's a really tough job.
It is a tough job. Ross asked what's the ROI of saying happy birthday, which is, I know he's saying facetiously. But what's interesting is when we do stuff like that and we use the hashtag Dell love, when someone says, I just got a Dell for my birthday, or I just got my Dell and I love it, or whatever, we respond back to them from the brand accounts. And so we'll say, hey, Shelly, I saw your post that it's your birthday. Happy birthday. I'm glad you got a Dell. What's your favorite feature or whatever? We ask a question to kind of keep the conversation going. We acknowledge that they have it. And here's the benefit of that. When we run into a PR issue, when someone's mad at us, typically the first person to respond is somebody that we've had a touch point with in the past. And they feel like they know us and they want to defend us. And so we find ourselves not having to defend ourselves because we can look at the comments and the conversation and we can see lots of people defending it for us, defending our own brand, giving us the benefit of the doubt. Because now that you're human and now that you have this human connection, you can relate to a person and you can say, I wouldn't want that to happen to me, or that could just as easily happen to me, or I know that person and I know that they have a good, integrity or whatever it might be. And now you've got all these defenders for your brand, which is obviously beneficial when you need it.
That's what I was talking about when I said the community carrying your torch. I mean, that is your community carrying your brand forward and supporting you, not only when you're on your way up, but, when you're having your down moments, when something does go wrong. Service is imperfect in many ways, like customer service is not always perfect, and you want to create great experiences. You want to be on top of it, but you're not going to make everybody happy all the time. And I think that's, extremely powerful. It's great that you guys are getting involved in responding, but I also think it carries a lot of legitimacy when it's not the brand, when people step in and say, we've worked with Dell and we believe that you will get taken care of. We believe that they're going to take care of them. They're going to live to their brand promise and commitment, that they're not only here when you're ready to buy, but they're also here for that total life cycle, that total, customer experience from beginning to forever, which is really what it means today.
And we agree with that completely. In fact, I mean, any technology is going to fail. No, it doesn't matter the brand. There are just opportunities, or there are chances. They're made of hundreds of little bits, and something could fail. It's always possible. But when you see a review from a Dell customer who has said that they had a failure, and then you see a Dell person come back and respond and say, I'm really sorry to hear that. Let me get that fixed for you in a public manner. Then what you have when people are making the decision around purchase is, okay, I see that, that there's been failures on all these brands. Nobody has 100% record of being perfect. But in this brand, I see that they're responding back, that there are live humans. I can reach somebody. I don't have to call because people don't want to call. I can connect with my mobile device because that's in my hand all the time. And that makes a difference. In fact, when we look at ratings and reviews on websites, and we have Dell employees who are responding, we see click-throughs from those ratings and reviews to go to our website to purchase. And we can measure that people are reading them and then people are clicking through and buying. So it makes a difference, and it matters to our brand that we have employees who are actively participating in those ratings and reviews conversations, and making sure that people are taken care of.
Well, that's great. That's awesome. That's the ROI.
There it is, Ross.
Very good. I don't know where Eric is. I don't know if he's coming back. I just messaged him. His screen went dark and he's afraid to refresh it because he's recording on his. So I think he's not going to take a chance and probably not come back. I know we're getting to the end of our 30-minute time schedule, and I don't want to take up any more of your time than you've already graciously given us. Is there anything else, Amy, that we should know that's the magic secret sauce to your success, or, anything like that?
Yeah.
By the way, I love you telling all your secrets publicly on a recorded video that we're going to share with the world. I think
it's very true. We like to be transparent. That's one of our principles, Adele. So let me just say, I work with absolutely amazing people. And the key to our success is that we have a lot of fun at work. We share that fun. We make people want to be a part of the group and the conversation. I have amazing people that work for me and with me and beside me. And I think when you have a good team and you can find the fun in ROI and find the fun in convincing people who don't want to use social that it's important, then you have a winning recipe.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant. I think the 5th P of marketing is definitely people. And, we talk a lot on our various shows, but, I always say you cannot move any technology goal forward without getting the culture and the people right. You just can't, people aren't going to buy in. So a tool like Everyone Social or employee advocacy, 99% of its success comes down to, can you guys get the people in their hearts and in their minds to believe in the vision of what you're doing? Because the products have been made so easy that anyone can use them. But the reason they don't use them, it's not about the products. It's about the fact they don't understand why. They don't see the vision. They don't see the value. They don't see the ROI, so they don't do it. But when you're getting them to kind of go on the journey with you and shake hands and be a part of it, right, and group hugs or whatever you guys want to call it, right? It definitely takes it a long way forward. And I think, brands are going to have to get that in the years to come. You cannot control your message anymore. There's going to be a point where you cannot control the message in its entirety. You can shape the message, you can shape the voice, but eventually you've got to let your people carry that torch for you. So I think we're heading that direction, and you guys are definitely.
I was so happy to be here. It's lovely to talk to both of you, and to Eric, even though he's off.
Yeah, he's there huddled in the dark somewhere, wishing he could be here. All right.
So we will we'll get the Blab, the recording, and we'll get it back and we'll get it out there for you, Amy. And you can share it and collateralize it and use it however you like. And we'll be promoting it. And we really do appreciate you joining us this week on the Marketing Mash.
Absolutely. So, hey, everybody, and thanks for joining us. All you people who we can count on every week to come by, we appreciate you as well. And Allison Herzog, it's great to see you. I didn't get a chance to say hi. So thanks, everybody.
That's it for this episode of Marketing Mash. You can share your thoughts by following us on Twitter and Facebook. Subscribe to our podcast to keep up with the show. And of course, you can always find us by visiting themarketingscope.com.